Yeah, so welcome back and post the break, we are, so I was just telling that, estimation method, four of them we have seen. Analogous, which is also called as top down, is not very accurate but very quick one, and if it is established engineering practice, if your team has done certain work, time and again, then obviously your analogous estimates are fairly good to, go ahead and consider. Remember, these type of estimates are very useful when you are in the doing the budgeting, not for the planning. For planning, you will have to use probably more accurate, thing there. This is good for budgeting. For planning, probably you should use more accurate method. This is good for budgeting, and hence it is good in initiation. In the planning stage, better to use some other more accurate methods there. The second one is called as parametric, which is little more accurate, also based on the past experience. They also call it as parametric, or the top-down or analogous estimates are also form of expert judgment. They call it as it's a form of expert judgment, because these are the two type of estimates which any Tom, Dick, and Harry cannot do it. It has to be done by someone who is expert into that. Then only you are supposed to be using this methodology. Then comes the last one, the third one, called as a bottom up. Bottom up is obviously least accurate, most accurate, takes its own time. But remember, if your team has not done anything in the past, those type of projects and all that, you are better off by doing the bottom up estimate. This one 3 point estimate is useful on when the difference between the optimist and pessimist is very high. What does it mean is that some part of your team believes that that could be done very quickly. Some of them think that it's going to take quite a long. In such a scenario, 3 point estimate starts making the sense there. Obviously, this will happen only if your team has not done those type of things in the past there. So that's where 3 point estimates are also used. These are all the definitions, triangular distribution, which is a arithmetical average, beta distribution, which is here, standard deviation is range divided by 6, and expected duration is beta distribution plus or minus standard deviation. So what they say is that you take this beta number plus or minus standard deviation is called as expected duration. So sometimes you might get a question which is around that. We'll try to solve them when we'll be solving some questions there. Then comes, the tool and technique called as data analysis. When you are doing these type of estimate, few things you need to do. For example, you need to analyze alternative resources. Sometimes by hiring some expensive resources, or by hiring some machinery rather than labor manual thing, using the experienced resources than the trainees, your cost might seem to be going up, but the total time required might get reduced there. And in turn, you might save the money. So you need to check all those alternatives, saying that, should I go ahead and use 10 trainees and who is guided with two experts? This is one of the combinations. Some cost, some timeline will get calculated with that. As long as that I have a choice to take 5 experts and then only maybe take up 5 trains there. Now, this combination will also go ahead and probably do some changes in terms of the project end date, as well as the cost there. So which one is good for you? That's what is alternative you need to check. Schedule comparison technique. This we'll be learning very soon. One of that I have told is called as a fast tracking. Anyone remembers what is fast tracking? Fast tracking. We spoke about this word.
To adjust the predecessor and successor.
Correct.
To
So basically, try to run two activities in parallel, which you were earlier thinking as the sequential, correct? Yes,
yes,
Swati? Yeah, that's what is fast tracking. So he's saying that is one of the schedule compression technique. There are multiple, which we'll see as I told you. One of the thing which you can also check is make, rent, or buy decisions. For the resources, should you do all the thing using your own resources, or you should go ahead and outsource it, contract it, and so on and so forth. There are three options. In multiple places, make means do it in house. Now, if you want to outsource, there are two options. One is either rent or buy. Buy means go ahead and acquire those resources forever for your thing. Rent means, take it on the rent, only for that period. If those type of resources you are not going to use beyond the project, they are useful only for the project, then even paying upfront higher rent is useful, because maybe for 6 months, and after 6 months you will go ahead and surrender that back. So in that situation, the rate could be a better thing. But if you believe that that's a skill which you will need, that's the type of material or the resource which will be required even beyond the project for some other project, then in that situation, your decision could change to buy. So either make or rent or buy. You need to take the decision. This reserve analysis will understand into the cost chapter, which will come on to the next Sunday. You need to make a decision. Different opinions when you are making an estimate are very common. Some people think that, some people might think like a pessimist, some people might think like an optimist, and whenever it is required to be done, you need to do the decision. So decisions may, there is a new method, and it's called as a feast of five. Feast of five is basically, all the team member who are involved there, they are going to, a idea is kept saying that this is what we agree. Now everyone need to raise his hand, and when he is raising his hand, he has a choice to, put up the whole thing with a feast, which means I give zero vote to this. He also has a choice to raise one finger. So one finger. Then he has a choice to give two fingers or five fingers. So everyone can give from 0 to 5 numbers to that idea. So whatever idea is kept, let's say we'll do this in 40 days. So project manager says we'll do it in 40 days. Everyone who are agreeing, please raise your hand, and we are doing feast of five. Now, if someone agrees it fully, he should raise the full hand with five fingers there. But if he partly agrees, four finger, three finger, two finger. If someone says that this is absolutely not doable, he will put up the fist and raise the hand still, which means zero. I am giving zero out of the five there. Check it. Now, one of the very funny rule about fist of five is that unless all the people in the room do not show three fingers, that idea is dropped. So let's say 40 known, there are a few people who didn't agree. So you'll have to now change the number. Maybe you make it 45 days. So with 45, again, they raise the hand. This is called as feast of five, a new method, to come. Basically, you are giving the vote for each idea, and that vote has on a scale of 0 to 5. 5 means I fully agree, 0 means I don't agree. And the final exit criteria for making the decision, everyone should agree to, 3. So 3 or 4 or 5. Then only that idea will be accepted. Very funny new method they have done. In terms of meeting, you need to do estimate activity duration. In Agile, this is done as a part of sprint planning meeting, where user stories are taken from the product backlog and estimations are done for each of the user story there. Output or duration estimate.
Sanjay, one
Someone,
second.
yes, Pawan.
Onto the previous slide, decision making.
Ah,
So,
ah.
on what criteria we actually do it? It is only with respect to like uh, timelines of the project, or it is also related to other items as well.
Now what happened, Pawan, is that, these tools and techniques, they have explained in one chapter, you know.
Correct.
Now, here it is explained for duration, because this
Okay.
process
Okay.
is called as estimate activity duration.
Yeah.
But is it mean that feast of five cannot be used for something else? No, it could be used for something else as well. Sometimes it could be used for, let's say, if there are a new incumbent team member, and whether you want to take him in or not, you can do feast of five. That's the method. It's a simple method to do it.
Right.
And now, by the way, Pawan, what has happened is that if you read version 7, if you read version 7,
Hmm.
they call tools and techniques as a methods. And there, the methods are not mapped to any process. They are separately shown as methods, and processes are listed into a process guide. So any tool will be used for anything. For example, if you look at, earlier we have seen brainstorming. Now, in version 6, brainstorming is shown for some processes.
Right.
In version 7, they have said these are 49 processes, not version 7, it is process guide. So in process guide, there are 49 processes, and these are tools and technique. Now, any tool could be used for anything. So in that sense, it is very loose. Here, the definition of fist of five is done for deciding about duration, but it could be done for anything. It could be for team member selection. It could be related to a vendor selection. Correct.
Right.
So anywhere you want to do the vote, you can actually take this method there. Okay.
Got it, sir. Yeah.
So theoretically, Pawan, what does that translate is also means that, in your exam, hopefully they should not ask you that which tool you use for this particular process. That the chances of that are very less, because with time they have linked tools to be, the same tools are there by the version 6, all tools are there in version 7, but they are not hardly mapped, they are not hard mapped to a process. They think these are all the tools and technique, correct?
Okay. Okay. So the thing is, like, we need to understand, like, where we actually, while tailoring, like, we need to understand which tool has to be used it.
Correct.
So yeah.
That question was right in that sense. Correct. Then the meetings there, an output called as duration estimate for each of the activity, how many days, weeks, months it is going to take. And sometimes it could be in the range. They might sometimes, particularly for the activities which are in the distant future, you might say that, we might end up taking, some 8 weeks plus minus 2 weeks, which means, it could be 6 weeks to 10 weeks, anything between that. So sometimes it could be a range. Remember, not for immediate future. The distant activities sometimes could be at this level. Once you come closer as a part of progressive elaboration, you will go ahead and freeze saying that this is 9 weeks, not really, Then, whenever you create an estimate, there is a subsidiary document called as basis of estimate. It's a good idea to create a Word document or any other document where you are documenting every number. When I said 8 weeks, what is all there in my mind? In my mind, I have, for example, I think that the resources are already given the training, or all the resources are having at least 5 years of experience. Whatever are your assumptions in your mind before you put any number in the estimate, they are better to be documented in basis of estimate, so that subsequently, if your actuals change more than the estimate, you would have a justification. You would be able to say why did that particular thing change. So it's a good idea to have a documented thing, and that's called as basis of estimate. So duration estimate and basis of estimate are the key outputs here. And now comes into the develop schedule. As I told you, as we are always agreeing, saying that the timeline which is calculated by us is quite often not agreeable to the end customer. And for that, you need to do lot of adjustment. One of them I have explained it to you, called as a fast tracking. But there are few more which we'll see in develop schedule. So develop schedule is that process. Develop schedule is to analyze and adjust the schedule to get optimal and stakeholder acceptable schedule. It might call for revisiting the duration estimate. As I told you earlier, you thought that this will take 12 days, and when you want to reduce it, you might go ahead and revisit, saying that, do I really need 12? Can I do it in 10 weeks? Resource estimates, do I need so many resources? And reserve plant. Sometimes you have a contingency. When this was said to you, I will take 12 days here. When you go ahead and investigate with the team, he will come back and say, sir, I think I should be able to do it 10 days. But because, it is so visibility, I'm telling you 12. This 2 days I have kept as a reserve. So check this number, this two. Do you really need 2 days of reserve for this? Or can I, commit 10? Those type of all adjustments is called as reserve plan. If often, if it's often the resource requirement is derived using the activity sequence, the resource availability check based on that. Sometimes changes are required to be done in final assignment. See, what happens here is that, there are multiple activities which could be done in parallel. A, B, and C. These could be done in parallel. This needs developer and designer. This needs designer and solution architect. This needs solution architect and technical architect. Now, what happens while A and B looks to be independent activity, they could start on the same day. You would realize designer is going to be the bottleneck, because designer is only one. If that is there, this activity need to be pushed there. And that's what he's trying to say here. He's trying to say that, that sometimes there are changes required for final things. It is derived using activity
Sir, which
sequence.
bullet point? Which bullet point?
Third one here.
Okay.
Let me highlight. Yeah. See, ये क्या होता है? If it is often resource requirement is derived using activity sequence, correct? A के बाद B के बाद C, ऐसा you are actually saying that so many resources are required. But now what happens is sometimes resource availability नहीं रहता है ना वैसा, उतना नहीं है लोग. Now what do? You need to do those adjustments.
बराबर सर. ठीक है सर, बराबर.
What will happen if you do the adjustment, Kuldeep? to the project end date?
Of course.
It might
It
Change.
might
postpone.
change.
Postpone. Yes.
It will take more time. Obviously, it will take more time. So be it. That's there. That's the reality part of it. So that's what they are trying to say. And once acceptable dates are done, it is called as baseline. Schedule is baseline, and then this baseline schedule will become part of the project plan. And against that, the actual progress will be tracked here. All the inputs. Now, here is an important thing: schedule refinement. Schedule refinement. There are, 4 branches here broken into 2. One adjustment you need to quite often do is project end date. Whatever is your calculated project end, it is not acceptable to the participant or the stakeholder. They want it faster. Is that common, friends?
Yeah, very common.
Yes.
Very common. That's how is very common. Now, coming back to that, one of the adjustment there is called as fast tracking, which is running the tasks in parallel. We spoke about it in the schedule network diagram. A, B, and C. If you try to link like A to B and C, if you are doing something like that, this is called as fast tracking. Fast tracking will always add the risk because you are doing C after the B, so there was no chance of rework. But if you try to do it in parallel, chances are that your rework might increase. So risks increases, and sometimes the cost also could increase. So both these things could occur. If you are going to take more risk and more cost, why are you doing? You need to do it because project ended, you need to bring more close to the expectations of the stakeholder. So sometimes you need to take the risk, sometimes you need to also spend the money to do this adjustment. This is the first adjustment called as fast tracking. Is that clear? Okay. Now listen to this carefully. This is the second one. They call it as a crashing. Crashing is used money to save time. Very common thing is that using more expensive resources, using automation, using tools, manual ke jagah tools, if you use it, what will happen? The cost will go up, but time will get saved. If you use automation, the cost will go up, but time will get saved. If you use, a solution architect to do a job of technical architect or developer, cost will increase, but time might get reduced. Does it mean that you should not do it? No, sometimes you need to do it. Doing so is called as crashing. In crashing, you are not trying to increase you are not trying to run things in parallel. Here, you are trying to reduce the timeline by using, putting money, either the resource. Second way is, for example, have you heard this thing called as a express visa program?
Yes.
It comes
वो
at a price
तत्काल मनी
tag.
में भी है
Huh?
सर, तत्काल पासपोर्ट चलता है उसमें भी है सर।
तात्काल पासपोर्ट, हाँ, तात्काल पासपोर्ट का फीस ज्यादा होता है, करेक्ट कुलदीप?
Hmm.
हाँ
Similarly,
सर, कुछ
express
डॉक्यूमेंट भी
visa.
लगता है उसके अलावा।
Now, why do you do that? Why do you pay that additional money?
ऑफ कोर्स टू
Because
सेव टाइम।
less time.
Less time. So that's called as crashing. Are you getting this? In the
Yes.
international, shipments, there is a word called as airlift. Airlift some material. Have you heard this?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Why do you want to
एयर
do
में।
airlift? Airlift के लिए पैसा ज्यादा लगता है, स्वाति.
हाँ सर, वो एयरमैन
Yes.
के लिए पैसे लगते हैं।
They will not send it to the ship. They will send it to the flight. Obviously, it comes at a price. But you do it because you want to save time onto the thing. All those are example of crashing.
Hmm.
See, when we are saying, crashing means trying to put money, whichever way you are trying to do it. Both these things, crashing or fast tracking, are coming under a broader group called a schedule compression technique. So schedule refinement may one thing you do is schedule compression technique. There are two sub parts of that: fast tracking or crashing. Fast tracking will always plus risk, which means risk will increase. Cost also might get increase. On the other hand, crash may plus cost is for sure. Your cost is going to increase. Certainly, I mean that decision itself is taken because so the moment you go ahead and start using a technical architect to do the coding, cost is going to increase. There is no doubt about it. So it's not a might increase; it will increase. That's called as crashing. Now remember, they might actually come up with an interesting and twisted questions there. So they will give you a lot of statistics there and say that you as a project manager, whether you should do fast tracking or crashing. Now there are criterias. Remember, if your project is good in the cost, if you are having money, if you are well within the budget, crashing is an option for you. But if it is not, then crashing is no more an option for you. You can't, because you are already running short of funds. In that situation, whatever adjustment you can do using fast tracking, you'll have to do it. So some scenario based questions, could come into the thing. We'll also try to solve some of them, based on the time. Now coming back to this was all looking into the time. You're always looking into the end date, trying to bring the end date very close to expectation. But at the same time, you need to be fair with the resources as well. So there are two adjustments also under resource usage. One of them is called as resource leveling. Resource leveling is that each resource is utilized for 8 hours or so. Everyone is going to work for 8 hours or so. And resource smoothing is where the resource histogram is even over the time. Now, very difficult. So let us see that using an example. This is under a sub thing called as a resource optimization. ये दोनों चीज we'll try to see an example here. Now look at it here. This is not
Sir, can
resource
we go to
related.
the back previous slide once, please?
Yes. इसमें हम लोग I am going to explain, so don't worry. Example, and we are going to come back to this slide fully.
Okay, ठीक है sir.
So here, look at it here. How many days will this project take?
Sir, वो critical path देख लेंगे इसमें.
Correct. So this path is 16.
And other one is 18.
18. So how many days will it take?
18.
18 days. Okay. 18 days is the critical path. Correct. Now what project manager did? Look at it here. Project manager did this. Now what will happen?
16 days.
16 days.
4, this is 14. So now 16. Did you notice the color of the tiles changed?
Yeah.
Yes.
And why?
To show the critical path.
Critical path. So basically critical path has changed with this adjustment. Now this particular link, what did you actually do? You have broken this particular link. Did you notice that?
Yes.
So this is an example of fast tracking.
Hmm.
Fast tracking, that's how it will save the time. Correct, friends? Understood?
Yes.
So that's how you are calculating it. Start to this and so on. Remember, fast tracking will go ahead and change this critical path. Now there is one question. They say that could there be two critical paths on one project?
Possible.
हाँ हो सकता है sir.
Could be.
As long as both the numbers are same.
Same.
If there is one
Yes.
more path,
Yeah.
so it is possible. Two critical paths is not an impossible situation. Now remember what is the meaning of that? It means that's a critical project. Now why critical project? It is simply, remember friends, critical path is not it's not only about solving that question. It says that those are the tasks on which project manager need to keep a very close eye. He need to review them very regularly because it's a critical thing. Anything slipping out of them, even for one day, is going to delay your project. Now, if you have two critical paths, which means you need to manage two paths. So obviously, multiple critical paths are to be, managed more closely. Is that making sense? There is another term which is sometimes used, and it is called as near critical path. Some activities are called as a near critical path. There is no specific definition about it in the PMBOK as well, but this term sometimes appear in the thing. What is near critical path? Near critical path, in simple words, is that is just by 1 day or 2 days that has become non-critical path. Remember, it is only short thing. Now, one task there gets delayed and it will become critical. So near critical tasks also need to be monitored fairly closely. Critical path should be, near critical also you need to manage closely. Is that clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many days do you think this will take after fast tracking?
Sir 16 दिन तो लगेगा.
16 days. है ना? 16 days. Now, what happened is 16 days was also not agreeable to the stakeholders. They were more greedy and they started saying that good, from 18, Kuldeep, you brought it to 16, but और थोड़ा कम करना है. So Kuldeep, actually these are vendors, A, B, C, D, E, all these are the vendors. So Kuldeep asked the vendor C, vendor B, and vendor D. These three vendors, Kuldeep asked, saying that give me an offer, saying that you charge me some money, but do this task in half the time. So when he asked the C said that, sir, कर सकते, पैसा देना पड़ेगा. I mean, I can't do it just like that because I will have to take probably people, I will have to probably automate something. तो पैसा देंगे तो कुछ भी करेंगे. So now the offer came, and that was surprisingly same, Kuldeep. It said that C said that I will reduce the time by half and take $1,000 additional. These guys said that I will also reduce it by half and I will also charge $1,000. D also said that I will save 7 days for you and $1,000. Half. Everyone is going to. These guys said I will save 3 days for you, I will save 2 days for you, I will save 7 days for you. And everyone has quoted the same number, $1,000. The question is that whose offer should you accept?
D, more value for money.
No, a law of diminishing.
सर जिससे क्रिटिकल पाथ कम हो जाएगा वही.
Are you getting this, friends? C wala.
Right.
And why not take D? D is going to save 7 days.
It's not on
बट इसका
critical
कोई
path.
फायदा नहीं है तुमको. ये
Correct.
7 days का कोई फायदा नहीं है तुमको. करेक्ट मारिया?
Correct, correct.
इनफैक्ट ये बी वाला अगर है ना, ये $1,000 का तो छोड़ दो ऑफर, उसको बोलना यार तू 4 दिन के जगह 10 दिन ले लेना, मेरे को डिस्काउंट दे थोड़ा. यू विल गेट अ डिस्काउंट फ्रॉम हिम. करेक्ट. बस 4 दिन में खत्म करके करना क्या है आपको? डिड यू नोटिस दैट? बिकॉज दिस इज गोइंग टू टेक 16 days. This is 4, which means he has a float of 12 days. This guy has a float of 2 days. So float to float. I mean, what do I do with that? He's going to finish it. So do it there. So basically, fast tracking or crashing. Remember, what was this, by the way? $1,000 दिया तो आधा टाइम बचेगा. What are you doing?
Cash.
Crashing.
Crashing.
It is crashing. ये जो था, this was fast tracking. The first one was, this to this is fast tracking. Saving the called as crashing.
We are basically reducing the time critical path ka. Now it will be 13 hours. But then my critical path changes because D will be 14 now.
Now this becomes 3. So 18 plus 3, 11 plus 2, 13. See what that, Swati?
Yeah, it is 13. Yes. This is 13. Now the D wala sequence
now did you
become
notice
14.
this 14. will become critical.
Yeah.
And your duration also will not 16 be, it will be now 14. Correct? So now this guy will become critical, this will not remain critical. Exactly. So very important lesson, Swati. It says that when you do this crashing or fast tracking, the critical path will change, or it might change at least. Correct?
Okay.
It might change. That's very much known fact there. That's how it would happen. And if that happens, Swati, good, that's good. Go ahead and start concentrating on those tasks. Earlier you told B and D, saying that ki every evening जाने के पहले मेरे को बोलना है. Correct?
Right.
After doing this adjustment, you change that instruction. You told that instruction to A, C, and E. Are you getting this?
Yes. Then
Because
we
now
again
they are
make adjustment. Yeah.
Because if they get delayed, you are in trouble. B and D वाला एक हाथ दिन delay किया तो it's not going to make your life difficult. So the critical path is meant for that. So crashing is, so fast tracking and crashing example मिल गया तुमको? You got this?
Yeah.
This is that prior slide.
We can assume that in fast tracking there will be no cost change, right?
Now that's their assumption. There is a difference in opinion there, Shishir. See, listen to friends, what Shishir is trying to say. He is saying in fast tracking, cost may not change. It is, strictly it will not change. Bhi nahi bolunga main, Shishir. I would say it may not. See, typically doing things in parallel, if that interdependency is not spoiled, whatever you are assuming in B, for example, can you do the development without design getting approved?
No.
Well, you are doing design. Then you are going to put it for design approval. Don't go with the length of the thing. It is just to write approval. and then you are going to do development. ये शिशिर तेरा ये था. Fast tracking में what you did, after the design is completed, you sent it to the approval, and you also started working on development. Shishir, theoretically possible?
Right.
Yes.
Now what will happen if your design gets approved without any changes? तेरा लॉटरी लग गया शिशिर. बट उसने चेंज बोला तो
Rework.
then development का rework हो जाएगा. So are you getting, Shishir, why I am saying it will increase cost? मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. I am saying it might increase the cost. There are some chances that even after breaking this particular thing, you might still be on track and you might end up saving that. And that's where fast tracking. Are you getting this, friends? What question he is asking? He's saying that will cost always increase? No, not necessary. Correct?
Okay.
So
Yes.
fast tracking. Now there is another important concept we need to understand, and here we are going to understand it using that landscaping and all that example there. That community center which was getting developed. There was a designer named Roger. The Roger was going to design the furniture for that community center. He was also going to design the landscape for that whole community center, which was going to take 4 days and 6 days here. After the design for the furniture is done, the carpenters were going to get into action and going to take 20 days to produce that furniture as per that design. The gardeners will, take 10 days and they will design as per that, and it will get ended there. This was very plain, simple thing, and we have done it. So this takes 24 days. This takes 16 days. So the critical path is 24. So you need to be extremely, after Roger and, the carpenters, gardeners, you could be little lenient about them because they have a float of 8 days. Correct? 8 days कैसा निकला?
24 minus 16.
Correct. 24 minus 16 was 8 days of float. Now, however, here, friends, there is a catch here. The catch here is that look at it, what will happen to Roger. If you are saying these two designs are independent, they are not dependent on each other. Furniture design is independent, landscape design is independent. See, when you are having a chart here, there are two charts, this is, I think I should mark it like this. I haven't marked. Okay. So here, look at it. 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours for 4 days. Similarly, 8 hours, 8 hours for 6 days for landscape. Did you notice that? Understood?
Yeah.
And did you now add the numbers? 16, 16, 16, 8, 8. After this, on the 4th, he completed the furniture design. These carpenters are working. After he finished the landscape design, the gardeners are working, and this project is going to get over on this particular date. Now, while this is a good story on this Excel spreadsheet, life of Roger is difficult. Why?
Working on both at the same time.
So obviously 16 hours a day, correct?
Yeah.
It's unfair to expect someone to work 16 hours a day. Now, obviously this was not agreeable. It became difficult. So project manager did one thing. He said that, Roger, don't take it like that. We don't want to, want you to go ahead and end up getting a divorce for this project. So they told him, ये 4 पहले खत्म कर ले, then do this 8. You would have realized his work was going to get over on 6th. Now, because he is doing sequentially, it is going to get over on the 10th. But every day he is working for 8 hours. After the design furniture, it is starting like this only. There is no change in furniture, so it is getting over here. Only for what is happening about the gardeners, which were going to start, on the 7th, rather than that, now they are going to start on 11th. And they are going to finish. Still, it is going to get finished well with it. So the project ended, didn't change. But Roger's life became slightly better. Correct? Did you realize this?
Yes.
This is called as resource leveling. This is one of the method called as resource leveling.
सर समझ एक बार थोड़ा मुझसे बताओ.
हाँ, see, if you look at it here, you will realize what he is doing. If you say these two tasks are independent, बराबर है, कुलदीप. बट ये करने वाला आदमी तो एक ही है ना.
बराबर.
नाउ इफ यू schedule as per this Excel spreadsheet में बढ़िया दिख रहा है, बट ये 16 घंटे काम कैसे करेगा? It would be difficult for him to work for 16 hours for 4 days. So what he did, ये नीचे वाला पार्ट देख, इसको बोला कि ये 4 days you finish this and then you start with this. Obviously the total has become 8888, correct?
Yes.
So अभी ये सेकंड वाला अगर है तो रॉजर, रॉजर का वाइफ, बच्चे खुश रहेंगे, करेक्ट?
हाँ सर.
एंड व्हाई? कि बराबर 9 बजे ऑफिस जा रहा है, 5 बजे आ रहा है, अच्छा है सब, दैट्स व्हाट इज देयर. दिस इज कॉल्ड एज रिसोर्स लेवलिंग, व्हिच मींस पीपल आर नॉट यूज बियॉन्ड देयर यूटिलाइजेशन. That's not a good thing. That is called as resource leveling. Resource leveling is being fair with the resources to ensure that they work for whatever are the specified hours. They could be 8 hours. They could be, some resources are designed to work for 4 hours. So 4 hours to 4 hours. That's leveling. Basically, you are ensuring that no resource is overstretched. Correct, Kuldeep?
हाँ सर.
Now, what happens is that when this overstretching happens, your project end date might go postponed. It might get postponed, correct?
Yes sir.
I mean, if you are fair with your people, the end date might, but I did not say it will. Did you notice, Kildeep? Because in this example, you will realize in both the situations, the project is going to get over on 24th. And
हाँ
why
सर,
did this happen? Why did
क्योंकि
this
सर
happen?
हमारे पास वो स्लैक था ना, तो हमने वो यूज किया.
Correct. ये वाला पाथ पे there was a 8 days of slack. You postponed it only by 4 days. So इसका slack कम हुआ, but total duration didn't got. So basically, typically resource optimization में resource leveling if you do, the project end it might get postponed. It is not, it will. And now I'm sure friends you would have got the trick of PMI. This could be translated into a scenario based question. And they will say it might or it will. You need to choose the right option there. It will nahi hai. It might. Correct?
Okay.
So be little careful. वो थोड़ा, you will get familiar with their words and all that thing with time. So that's how this is resource leveling. This is called as resource leveling. Okay. This is one level of adjustment. Let me go back to that slide. Here. हमने fast tracking देखा with that example. Crashing देखा. Resource leveling देखा. Correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vishakha, are you there? Is she there? I'm not sure. She's attending her mother as well, so we may not disturb her a lot. Pawan, are you there?
Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, so here is Pawan's story. See, Pawan was working on to a particular project and he went ahead and, gave the requirement to the resource manager, He gave the requirement to the resource manager and see how it was looking. He was saying that in the April, I need 11 people. Did you notice that graph? 11 people in April? Then
Yes.
16 in the May, 15 in the June, and then 7 in the July. How did
Yeah.
he do? What Pawan did, he listed the activity, the dependency, and for each of the activity, how many people are required. Total मार के दे दिया इसको रिसोर्स मैनेजर को पवन ने. Correct, Pawan?
Yeah, yeah, it's there.
Looking at that, Pawan actually that resource manager shouted at Pawan. He said कि पवन ऐसा देते क्या requirement? This is really bad. He said, see कितना अजीब ग्राफ दिख रहा है. Sometimes it is going up, sometimes it is going down. मेरे को ऐसा ग्राफ पसंद नहीं है. Why do you think he is upset about such graph?
You need to reallocate resources or time and then.
Are you getting what Pawan is saying? He said कि यार पहले तू 10 लेगा, बाद में मेरे को और 6 लोग चाहिए. Then you will release one person immediately. Then you will release so many. ऐसा नहीं यार, तू मेरे को थोड़ा even requirement बोल दे. Why even requirement? What? How does it matter? If graph looks even, what is the pleasure he gets?
सर वो
One
कई बार आउटसोर्स करना
internal,
पड़ता है. पहले
internal and external. Internally, aligning them to other projects is easier. And externally, when we onboard people, there's a lot of time and money that is spent. तो वो भी बचता है. Just उनको 2 महीने onboard करने के लिए longevity.
सर
And
इनसे onboarding formalities take lot of time.
It takes time. Oh, I mean, yes, it is not that simple. See, simply typical, resource manager in anyone, Pawan, you would realize that you need to build the capacity which is typically for the peak requirement. Hai?
Yeah.
And that peak requirement wala capacity off peak में सब नीचे में रहते, when it is it is unutilized there. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
ये आईटी पार्क में कभी सैटरडे संडे गए थे क्या? जाना नहीं चाहिए, बट कभी जाते हो?
क्राइसिस वाले दिन गए।
ये
नहीं,
हम
हाँ,
लोग
क्राइसिस वाले दिन जाते.
नहीं
Did
मैच
you
वैच
notice
खेल
that
लेंगे.
there are so many taxis and buses which are standing on both sides of the road?
Mhm.
Why? They have nothing to do on Saturday and Sunday. Spare capacity
Mostly.
है.
Mhm.
Correct? Basically, someone will have to build the capacity for the peak requirement. Now, if there is a too much of a variation between peak and all that thing, it becomes a nightmare because then that capacity is blocked there. Correct?
Yeah.
Maria, are you with us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maria, have you heard, few days back, government of Maharashtra requested almost all the people who are having offices in that Churchgate and VT and all that thing. They said that कि आप ना starting time 7 बजे, 8 बजे, 9 बजे, 10 बजे ऐसा करो. Everyone starts at 9 a.m. Please don't do it.
Mm.
Why?
सर वो स्मूथनिंग
Avoid
के लिए
the yeah.
Traffic.
Manage
Yeah.
traffic. Yeah.
Traffic.
Everyone reaches there at 9 a.m. तो इनको इतना local छोड़ना पड़ेगा. It becomes very
Oh,
difficult for them.
crowd
Like,
management.
now if they do it 7, 8, 9, 10, obviously, some people will go at 7. Then now you need not have to increase so
Distribution.
many locals. You will be able to still manage it. Peak
Mm.
requirement and off peak requirement का difference जो है ना, that becomes a problem to manage always. Correct? Yes, Pawan?
Yeah, Sanjay, got it.
Now what Pawan did, he gave requirement like this. Look at it here on the left side. 10, 11. The graph is looking little smooth. And the moment that guy saw this graph, he said, "Ha, Pawan, now I will give it to you." Are you getting why he is happy? Because earlier his peak requirement was 16 and now his peak requirement is 10. Are you getting, Pawan? 10 or 11 probably. Yes, Pawan?
Yeah, Sanjay, got it.
So this is called as resource smoothing. It is called as resource smoothing. Smoothing is trying to put the histogram in a leveled way. Remember, that's the technical definition. It necessarily means try to reduce the difference between peak requirement and off peak requirement. Try to make it as smooth as possible. That actually gives you the advantage of capacity. Did you notice the project here got delayed?
Yeah. 2 August.
So, resource smoothing also might result into project ended getting delayed. Again, there also it is not will, it might. Are you getting it? It is quite possible that you might be. And how would this happen? I mean, ये graph कैसे होगा मालूम है क्या? It will happen when, let's say that, if there is a design as an activity, you'll have to break it into high level design, low level design, and database design, and stagger it. You'll have to stagger. कि first month I will do only the high level design. Then second month I will do that. It could be anything of that nature. Then only this will happen. See, this graph is an output, Pawan, correct? तेरा planning तेरे को change करना पड़ेगा. Because, based on that planning, this this graph will be drawn, isn't it? Task will have to be broken, correct?
Yes.
And that you'll have to stagger. When you stagger the task, then only the resource requirement will get staggered, correct? So project ended might, now coming back to our main chart where I was trying to explain this. See, ये resource smoothing का example. These are the 4 things which we have tried to see using things. These are called as resource optimization technique. There are, under schedule refinement, you are doing 2 type of refinement. One is a schedule compression, which you can achieve by fast tracking or crashing. You need to do resource optimization, which you can do by resource leveling or resource smoothing. Everything which is related to the schedule compression might prepone the project end date. Everything which is related to resource optimization might postpone the project end date. You will have to do both of the things till the time it becomes very rational. Is that making sense? You'll have to do it multiple times to do these adjustments. Is that correct?
I'm
Yeah.
confused between the statements. So when we do resource usage, it
Resource
wants our
optimum.
end date. Okay.
Yeah, Maria, it could delay the project, correct, Maria?
Right. Yep.
It could delay the project. When you do schedule compression, fast tracking or crashing, your project end date will come closer,
Reduce time. Yeah.
reduce
Okay.
time. Here it will increase the time. So they are actually going opposite to each other. But
Yeah.
you need to do both, Maria, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your customer and your boss should be happy, but your people also should be happy.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
resource manager also should be comfortable, correct? Let me
Yes.
not use word happy. Comfortable तो रहने चाहिए कम से कम.
Yeah.
And this is making them comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what. Yes, Kuldeep, you said something.
Resource optimization may or may not increase the overall duration.
Duration.
Right?
वो वही है, फिर से गणित वही पे कुलदीप, correct?
हाँ.
If it is fitting into your critical path and that float में adjust हो गया, तो no, it may not. So in that situation, your boss also will be happy, your people will also be happy. Correct?
Sir, float and slack are same thing?
Float and slack are the synonyms, it's a, they call it as a slack or float. Both the names are same, So that was, this particular theory, schedule network. And once you go ahead and, person like Shishir, who is, who made this whole diagram, and in the MS project like tool, if you are using any other tool as well, you will realize that, it will show you the project end date, it will show you the total cost as well. Correct, Shishir?
Yes, Sanjay, it will.
Now, what it is saying, you need to do lot of such adjustment. First thing that what is created initially with some timeline, you might need to do some tuning for stakeholder need. So it could be done by critical path method, resource optimization, modeling techniques. Now, modeling techniques, there are two type of models. This is the point where I need to ensure that everyone is mentally as well in the classroom, which I'm sure everyone. Can you please confirm?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And how can I forget my friend Raj, where there is a 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Raj, 3 a.m.
I'm here. Yes,
That
Sanjay.
3 a.m. there? Okay. So,
Yeah.
good. So, Raj, this modeling, what they are trying to say, try to understand. This is going to come in one more, process there where we'll go very fast there. So, what is the modeling? They say that there are two ways of doing modeling. And they are, one is called as what if analysis. What if analysis. And the second one is called as simulation, which is done using another method, and that's called as a Monte Carlo analysis. Don't get confused with that fabric brand called as Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is the name of a technique. Is that understood? What if and Monte Carlo. These are two things. Now, what is the difference in that? So, Shishir, are you listening to me?
Yes, Sanjay.
If you have created a right project plan, and if you go ahead and let's say calculated some end date and cost, all that thing. Now, what you did is that in one of the activity, you went ahead and added one resource, additional resource. Pile you thought that I will keep maybe 10 people. Now you went ahead and changed that I will keep 15 people. What will happen to the project end date?
And it will decrease and cost will increase.
Mostly end date will come closer and cost will increase. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, whatever it comes, so you checked it, you showed it, the boss said that, ye theek hai, but then, you are trying to do these two things in, sequence. Why don't you do in parallel? So he went ahead and removed one of the predecessor there. Now, once he removes the predecessor, in most of the situation, end date will come closer. Correct? Yes, friends, got it?
Yes.
If one of the, what did he do, by the way, when he deletes one of the predecessor? Fast tracking. है ना? When you remove the predecessor, it means it becomes fast tracking. Correct, friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in most of the situation, the project end date will still come closer. If you are doing these adjustments, it's called as what if. And this is the reason for which Shishir tries to use tool like MS Project. You can use any other tool. Is that clear? What if analysis so far? And he will keep on doing it until the boss and customer is happy. The end date and cost. So change one parameter and see the impact of that onto the output on multiple parameters. We are speaking about two of them, something called as the end cost and end date. But Shishir, there are more as well, isn't it? Sometimes, for example, if you go ahead and use in-house resources versus outsourced resources, your cost might go up, but your quality also might change. Correct? Now, there
Yes,
are
correct.
multiple. Basically, what if is a principle which says you are going to change one parameter at a time and trying to change impact of that on multiple output parameter. That is what if analysis. Correct?
Okay.
Now, coming to simulation. Next time he was going to use simulation. Now, in simulation, what he did is that he tried to use an automated tool. This could be done only with computer aided automated tools. What do these tools do? This MPP file, he loads onto that particular thing and he gives three border conditions. Three border conditions. One border condition, Shishir actually told it to him, saying that I need to do requirement capture. Requirement capture. I need to do it minimum for 1 week and maximum for 3 weeks. This is what is, there. Second one, okay. I need to use the resources, let's say developer resources, resource experience. I have a choice to use average 3-year experience resources and maximum up to 8-year experience. These are the experience choices. He had third more choice, that was automation. I need to at least in terms of development process, 40% of automation minimum and 90% of automation maximum I can use. These three boundary condition he gives it to the tool and gives the MPP there. Now what tool does? Now listen to this carefully. He need to click a button. The moment he clicks that button, it will go ahead and calculate the project end date, total cost, the quality, all those output parameter for each. For example, first iteration, to say 1 week of requirement capture, 3 years of average experience, and 40% of automation. What's the end date? What is the cost? What is the quality? All that. Then it will change the third parameter. So 1 week, 3 years, 50%. 1 week, 3 years, 60%. 1 week, 3 years, 70%, up to 90. Then he changes the 3-year wala. So 1 week, 4 years, 40%. We'll take so many combinations. See, look at it here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 6 possible values here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 6 possible values here. And 1, 2, and 3. 3 possible values. So if you take 6 into 6, 36 into, there are 108 unique combinations of this thing. Are you getting this conceptually? Don't
Yeah.
try to.
Cartesian.
Correct. So 108 unique combinations. Correct, friends?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, such a combination tool, because it's an automated tool, what it does, it internally runs very quickly and creates a simple spreadsheet which will have 108 rows, Shishir. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
It will say requirement capture kitna hai, resource experience kitna hai, automation kitna hai, what is the project ended, what is the cost, whatever, multiple output, multiple input parameter and its impact onto multiple output parameter. It will create 108 lines there. Now what Shishir does, he said that the project must not take more than so many days. It takes a filter saying that all the combinations which are having project ended beyond this, chahiye nahi mere ko. Are you getting? You would be able to put a filter saying that which combination is good for me and use that combination. That is called a simulation or Monte Carlo analysis. Monte Carlo analysis is done for any such calculations where there are multiple input parameter and checking its output, its impact onto multiple output parameter to choose which one is best. If you want to use this for PMP preparation, Kuldeep.
Yes, sir.
PMP preparation के लिए can we? What will be the input parameter?
सर मैं लेक्चर कितना सुन रहा हूँ, इतना सुनना.
First thing is number of hours you invest every day.
Yes.
2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. ये possible. 4 hours से ज़्यादा is difficult. Okay. Then how many questions do I solve? Which will have probably, I can solve minimum 1,000, then 1,200, 1,300 up to 2,000 questions. Okay. That is the second parameter. Third parameter could be how many books I am going to read. 1 book, 2 book, or three books. I mean, we are just taking some number. 3 books there. And output parameter, with this combination, what will be the date on which I will be prepared to give the exam, and what is the projected score. You will have to convert that into a numeric, isn't it? So if I do this, my score will be 50%. If I do it, my score will be 60%. This will be 70%, 75%, whatever. That combination wala spreadsheet you take and put a first filter. Wherever score is less than 70%, I don't want it. I don't want to failure. Correct? So all the combinations where I am going to pass, which is more than 70%. Now whatever remain, it will show you different dates when you will clear. You said, I need to clear this in any case by August. So all the dates which are in August. Now that looks to be a good combination. ये थोड़ा theoretical लगेगा for everyone. In fact, in my opinion, this is theoretical only. I don't think in the real project people will use, but you need to understand the concept. You got the concept?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we say what if analysis is one to many and simulation is many to many?
Simulation is many to many, and yes, correct, Raj. You have put it in exactly right word, which I would have said next. See, listen to him what he's saying. What if analysis, one input parameter, its impact onto multiple output parameter. Correct, friends?
Yes.
And simulation is, Raj, would you like to repeat? Many
Many to many.
Many input
Many
parameters.
inputs to many outputs.
Many outputs. That's there. Correct. That's it. So that's the difference between these two. Now, why are they covering here? They are trying to say that Shishir, first of all, you go ahead and make that diagram. Oh, end it. I mean, now that end it is not agreeable, boss. You will have to do some combinations to ensure that that is agreeable. While doing that, you will have to do these things, and that they have called it as modeling techniques. Are you getting this? You will have to do something of that nature. Correct?
Yeah.
Critical path method, whole of that thing we have already seen multiple times. I have explained about that. The only thing that ES, LS, EF and LF I have not done it, but which I will do it today. Resource optimization. Under that there are two things: resource leveling and resource smoothing. I have explained it in quite a long length with examples as well. Data analysis, what if, and scenario. Correct? So this is done using Monte Carlo. Allow impact of one variable on overall project time and cost. Simulation could be using for computer models. It allows define multiple input with the boundary conditions and run a simulation to get multiple possible outcomes so that you choose the best possible combination for your thing. This is called as simulation. Yes, Kuldeep.
Sir, these simulation techniques are part of this modeling technique, right? The simulation
They
Monte
are
Carlo.
under the modeling technique. Correct. They are under the modeling technique. So two of those things. Leads and lags, we spoke about it. An intentional gap between the thing is called as lag. The intentional overlap is called as lead. Whatever gives you advantage is lead. Whatever actually delays is called as a lag. So you can always remember lag is a gap between the tasks. Lead is overlap between the tasks. Scheduling compressions, you need to do it using crashing and fast tracking. This is more of a theory, but everything we have seen, including an example there. Project management information system, as you know, all the systems there. In Agile, these all things change. They come with adaptive life cycle, has a product vision broken into the releases. The releases are broken into the iterations or the sprint. Iterations are broken into the features or user stories and so on. So that's how it happens. This critical path, simulation, all those things become extremely less relevant in agile type of thing. The product manager or the organization boss who is planning the releases, he might use it because for him it is still a waterfall. But team working onto the ground will not use this because that's not the way they work. This whole hierarchy, we have seen this chart already when we were learning agile. And then there is an output called as a schedule baseline. Okay. And then comes the project schedule, which is an output. So schedule baseline is that baseline. Schedule has all those, list of the thing. When will it start? When will that go to? What are the resources? That whole thing, So basically, Shishir, if you go ahead and take a detailed report out of an MPP file, that's what is project schedule, correct?
Sir,
Yes.
can we see the components of schedule baseline again? This slide.
Schedule baseline may they have not given any input components. It is one thing called as whatever is the timeline for each of the activity, that's called as. So like unlike into the scope baseline, there are three parts.
Exactly,
Baseline,
sir. I was
correct. They
trying
have
to
not
draw.
given anything for this, and cost baseline, they have not said anything there. Okay. Then comes the project schedule data. Project calendars do get update, change request. Now the last one is here is control schedule, which is related to doing all the planning, same tools and technique there. But what we have not seen, and that's not going to come into your exam, but you need to understand is here. Yes, yeah. Early start, latest finish, and what is this business? We need to only understand. You are not going to get any question where you are going to solve it, but you might certainly get some question where these numbers are given to you and you need to make a meaning of it. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Let me explain you why PMI is not asking you question on that. They are simply not asking you question on that because PMI very clearly believes, and they know it pretty well, that in real life you are never going to do these calculations manually. You are going to use tools. Doing these calculations in real project manually, early start, early finish, is practically impossible. Okay, so they don't ask you any question which are related to that. Okay, so we are going to do this calculation here. Don't get panic about it. You are not going to solve these type of thing ever. I will do it for you, explaining all that thing. Understand the concept. Is that clear?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now listen to this carefully. This is simple project schedule network diagram. What is given to you is this task IDs. What is the duration? What is the predecessor? A, B, and all that. I have already drawn the network diagram here for saving our time. Nothing complicated, no rocket science. Did you realize it was saying B, C, and D are dependent on A, B, C, D are dependent on A. You notice A is dependent on B, that is how it is shown there. F is dependent on C, D, E. So that's how it is done. Is it clear so far?
Sir, where is the dependency? You said.
ये देखना ये predecessor लिखा है नहीं है
Okay, ठीक है ठीक.
ये chart में, correct? So this chart is actually reproduced here. I have said exactly what is shown here in terms of network diagram. Correct? Correct?
Yes.
Now there are 4 blocks, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Top is used for something called as a forward pass, and the one which is on to the left is the start, and one on the right is called as a finish. Yesterday we have done this forward pass already. So forward pass for A is 1 and 5. What does it mean?
It will
One
start on
is
first day
Start
and
date and sorry.
yeah.
yes. Some Swati, was that you or Maria?
Start and end date. Day.
Now this is Maria and everyone. It is called as earliest start and earliest finish. It is called as earliest start and earliest finish. It cannot start before 1 because that's the day 1 of the project, and it cannot end before the 5 because it is going to take 5 days. So 1 to 5. Have you understood? Earliest start, earliest finish. ES and EF. Yes, समझ में आया?
Yeah.
Yes.
What you are calculating with this is called as ES and EF. Now I am going to mechanically write 6 here. You know that.
Right.
Yes.
because that's the next. It can start earliest on 6th. Now I am going to do the calculation. 6 plus 4, 10 minus 1, 9. 6
Hmm.
plus 5, 11 minus 1, 10. 6 plus 7, 13 minus 2, 12.
Correct.
Correct? Now
Correct.
for
Right.
E, I am going to write 10.
10.
10 plus 4, 14 minus 1, 13. Correct? Now I
Yes.
have a catch for F.
14.
I need to take
14.
the biggest number.
14
So
or
I need to say 14.
yeah.
Because you need to take biggest number. Why? Because F cannot start unless E, C, and D, all three are completed. If C
Yes.
or D is completed, he will have to still wait because E task need to come. Same yesterday's example, you cannot start the testing unless test environment is ready, testers are ready, and test cases are ready. इसमें से एक भी नहीं रहेगा. If there are two things, you can't start the testing. So 14 we have taken because of the biggest number there. Now 14 plus
19.
6, 20 minus 1, 19 is how we have done it. 19 plus next day is 20. 20 plus 22 minus 1, 21.
21.
This is how we did. This is called as earliest start, earliest finish. Okay. Now, what is backward pass? In backward pass, you need to match 21 to 21, which is this earliest. So, earliest start is latest. Sorry, earliest finish is latest finish. LF. On the right side is finish. So latest finish. It can latest get finished on 21st. It can earliest be finished on 21st. It could latest should get finished also on 21st. Now you are going to come back. Now the complication here is that it is not, start plus duration minus one. It is here finish minus duration plus one. उल्टा है इसमें. It's not very complicated. Don't worry. 21 minus 2, 19 plus 1 is 20, which means this could be earliest start on 20th. It cannot
Hmm.
start before 20th. That's what he's trying to say. Sorry, latest start on 20th. It cannot start after 20th. It has to latest start by 20th. Now coming back, same logic, 19. 19 minus 6, which is 13 plus 1, 14 is here. Now there is a catch. Now there is a catch. This 14 will give 13 to this guy, 13 to this guy, and 13 to this guy.
Hmm.
Because this could latest get finished. See, look at it. E. If E comes to you, Shishir, listening to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and E asks you a question कि sir ये तो मैं कर लूंगा, tell me ज्यादा से ज्यादा कब तक मैं कर, latest by which it should get finished. You will tell him 13. Correct? But see, if C comes to you and he said that, sir, kab tak khatam gaye? Tell me. And you will say 13. Because F need to start on 14. So C should be ready just before F starts. So 13. Same answer you will give to D. Correct?
Yeah.
Now let us go back. 13 minus 4, 9 plus 1, 10. 10 brings in 9 here. 9 minus 4, 5 plus 1, 6 here. Now I can't come here because there are more connections coming in. So let us finish all the story. 13 minus 5, which
8.
is 8 plus 1, 9. Now 13 minus 7, 6 plus 1, 7. Now you are going to come back. While coming here, you need to take the least one of them. 6, 9, and 7. 3 are the inputs. You need to take 5. 5 minus 5 plus 1 is 1. Did you notice one observation here? The earliest start and latest start, or earliest finish and latest finish for critical path are same numbers.
Same.
Yeah, that changed.
सर ये तो हम वो फ्लोट और या
Correct. So
वो
the
लगा सकते
difference between latest start and earliest start is actually a float. Correct?
Yes.
Kuldeep? It's the float.
हाँ वो मेरे दिमाग में भी ऐसे यार
वो float है वो. Now, you are not going to do these calculations ever for the PMP. You are not going to do these calculations ever in the project as well. Don't even think about it. Because in the tool, if you put it, Shishir, have you tried? If you say insert column, there are fields available. Earliest start, earliest finish, latest start, late. He does the calculation internally for you. It has all those calculations available there for each of the tasks. So that's why they are not going to expect you, but they will throw you the number. They will say this is the earliest start for B, C, and D, and then they will come back and say that you want to use one expert resource. They will say that B, C, and D are all related to the banking domain, and all these people are there is very experienced guy who is there to whom you should go ahead and assign it. And they have not given anything. They have only given you earliest start for all that thing or earliest finish. You should go ahead and check the difference. If difference is zero, that's the task where you should put the best resource. Are you getting why best resource there?
So critical path पे रहेगा ना.
Critical path. वो delay हुआ तो delay हो जाएगा. And that's where the whole project will get delayed. That's called as forward pass and backward pass. And the calculations which are related to that could be done using that method. Okay. That's there. Don't try to do this yourself. It is not required at all. Understanding this term is very important. Correct? Who had Chat GPT open at
Sir,
his end?
please give me 1.5 minutes.
Yes. You want to check this? Or you are going somewhere, I mean, some out maybe. Okay. So while he is still coming up, who would like to open questions? Low PMP? Yeah. Which one? I will stop sharing. Who does it?
I think low PMP के questions better थे.
They were complicated. So try that. No problem. Low PMP. So who does it? Yes, Maria. Vishakha looks like she's little stuck up. Would you like to share your screen, Maria, unless you have some challenges?
Love PMP?
हाँ, शेयर करो, हम लोग बताएंगे आपको URL, don't worry.
Okay.
Let's try to solve some questions, on the critical path.
I think I have permission issues on my
I'm
laptop. This is
Is
gonna
it?
take.
सर मैं कर सकता हूँ, बताइए क्या है.
कर शेयर कर कुलदीप.
हाँ,
शेयर
ओके,
स्क्रीन.
ठीक है सर.
लो PMP खोलना है हमने.
अच्छा ठीक है सर, ओके.
या तू ये क्या स्क्रीनशॉट लिया क्या उसका?
हाँ, वो सर मैं रेगुलरली रेफर करता रहता हूँ.
हाँ.
आप जब पढ़ाते हो ना, तो
हाँ
मेरे को
हाँ.
चाहिए रहता है वो, मतलब कॉन्टेक्स्ट
बट
में
ये
रखने के
स्लाइड्स है उसमें वैसे पूरे.
लिए. हाँ वो सर अभी मेरे लिए वो ज्यादा हैंडी रहता है ये
राइट.
करते हैं.
यस, लो PMP. So it's coming up very soon. Looks like yes, they are here. Now there are so many questions on the. We can directly go on to some schedule questions, or otherwise, we can always try with a topic. But चालू करते हैं इसमें, no problem. हाँ, पहला ही question आया. See, following is an illustration of the project network activity node includes some information on the about the activity D. Given the information provided, what is the total float for activity D? Scroll कर नीचे. ओके, ये काफी अजीब है. They are not given any numbers here. That the question should be, इसको एक
maximum
बार.
number
हाँ?
critical path.
नहीं ना. I mean, they have not given anything. Answer नाम का की दबा के देखी. If it comes, there is answer option. हाँ, click that.
सर ये क्वेश्चन ही अजीब सा है.
नहीं, ये है ही नहीं, इसमें दिया ही नहीं, डिटेल ही नहीं
Incomplete.
दिया. It is
इनकम्प्लीट
incomplete.
क्वेश्चन है.
So वो
अभी क्या है, दबा क्या सेंस निकलेगा, अभी दबा तो देता
कोई
हूँ.
सेंस नहीं आएगा, इसका कोई पॉइंट ही नहीं
18,
है.
18, 18, 18.
इट विल ओनली से कुलदीप दैट राहु किस दशा में है तेरे लिए, और कुछ नहीं. बट कोई मतलब नहीं आता. तेरा राहु अच्छी दशा में नहीं है कुलदीप. गो बैक. सी, हाँ, अभी यहां दिया है. स्क्रॉल डाउन एंड दैट चार्ट ही हैज गिवन. हाँ, हियर
वो
यू विल कम टू नो. हाउ डू यू
वो
कम टू नो
कॉन्सेप्ट
फ्लोट?
वो कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ने के लिए बोल रहा है इधर तो.
हाँ,
वो इधर तो कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ने के लिए बता रहा है वो. वो
हाँ
कैसे
नहीं, नीचे
कैलकुलेट।
में चार्ट दिया ना वो, ये देख, ये दिस
हाँ,
डी, ये नंबर से।
लेकिन सर वो सिर्फ इलस्ट्रेट करने के लिए उसने कुछ नंबर डाला है।
Okay, okay, okay. This is not necessarily that thing. But
हाँ,
for this activity, can you calculate the float?
टोटल फ्लोट LF माइनस ये।
Hmm. Anything, LS minus EF or whatever, whichever way.
लेट अस फिनिश।
So 39
यस।
minus 23
23.
और
हाँ
37 minus 21 सेम आने वाला है दोनों। यस राज?
सर, दिस माइनस दिस ना,
हाँ 16 days ना।
16.
16 डेज का।
That's how it is to be calculated. Yeah, go back. पहले ही क्वेश्चन आया था इसमें। हाँ, अभी दूसरा क्वेश्चन इज हियर, ही इज एक्सपेक्टिंग यू टू डू द कैलकुलेशंस। आई डोंट नो वेदर वी शुड डू बिकॉज दिस विल टेक little bit of time. You might, one or two question you solve. Of late, I have spoken to several participants who clear the exam. They said that they don't expect you to, they don't give you the question where there are calculations. And there is a rational, Kuldeep, behind it. The rationale is very simple that these days you are not going to do it manually. It's not possible. If you have, 4-5 वाला निकाल सकते हो आप. If you have some 100 tasks there, you cannot draw the network. So they are not giving, solve this yourself. Scroll down. हाँ, ये तो नहीं हुआ ये. नहीं, this is earned value वाला है. This is not done. This is also on the earned value. But they are saying schedule here. Never mind. Okay. हाँ, ये to create WBS process identifies deliverable at the level of work breakdown structure. Okay. So are you, अच्छा ये
Yes.
आएगा. ओके, वर्क ब्रेकडाउन स्ट्रक्चर WBS. ओके, नाउ स्क्रॉल डाउन एंड सी द ऑप्शंस. हाईएस्ट, लोएस्ट, एनी और 10th.
10th रहेगा सर,
चेक कर ऊपर क्या बोल रहा है इस क्वेश्चन में.
इसमें जाएगा
नहीं, क्वेश्चन, हाँ,
एट द लेवल्स
क्रिएट
इन द
WBS
वर्क ब्रेकडाउन स्ट्रक्चर।
process identifies deliverable at the some level in the work breakdown structure.
तो वर्क पैकेज पे होता है, लेकिन इधर हाईएस्ट लोवेस्ट
Right?
लेवल लिखा है।
Yes, any guess friends?
Highest? Because it is work package level, right? Lowest would be going to the activity level. I'm just guessing.
नहीं, in WBS activities are not shown. The lowest one are work packages. The highest one is the scope. But
Okay.
unfortunately, even that is not the question. If you scroll up, what he is trying to say is the
To
create
create
WBS process identifies the deliverable at which level. You know, so
activity level.
so deliverables, deliverables could be at the lowest level. You can say
Lowest
that,
level, yeah.
because that's called as a work package. And the deliverables, Maria, then are broken into activities, which is the next step. So activities are not part of WBS. WBS means it stops at the work package. So the lowest level could be there. Now, if the question is interpreted other way, saying that should you go down and break it to 1 level, 2 level, 3 level, or where will the work packages be? The answer will turn to be any. Because see, the user login functionality, you might do only 2 steps. But for developing, catalog functionality, you might go down up to 5 levels. You could go anywhere. It depends, where do you want to break? You should break it until it becomes very easily manageable. So if that is the logic, any will be the answer there. So deliverables are lowest or any. If he is expecting saying that, how many steps you should go down, answer is any. It could be anything. Where are the deliverables are seen? If he is concentrating on, the answer will be lowest. So it is going to be one amongst those two. We'll have to check. I don't know what is there in his mind. Okay. So try with lowest and see the answer. Yeah. So this was right. He is actually interpreting it exactly as the same thing. Okay. Yeah. Scroll कर नीचे.
Activities. Okay.
Yeah. Scroll down. Next question.
तो बैक जाना पड़ेगा।
हाँ, बैक करना पड़ता है ये, अदरवाइज ना दिस गोज इनटू अ वेरी स्ट्रेंज सीक्वेंस. या PMP क्वेश्चन ऑन द शेड्यूल. हाँ, ये देखते हैं. यस, नहीं, TCPI नहीं हुआ है तेरा. डोंट डू दैट. This TCPI you have not sent. It is in the cost
इसके
chapter.
नीचे
Don't worry about it.
the products.
The project manager and the team decide that the project will be divided in 5 weeks iteration with 2 weeks in between for retrospective and iterative planning. What is this documented? Where will you find this particular thing? They have
Plan.
decided. Who was that? Was that? Who said that?
Schedule.
Raj, you said that, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Schedule management plan. And what's the logic? Why are you saying that? Sequence change हुआ है, schedule management plan वाला है, if we want to go. Yeah, Raj, your logic. Don't click yet. What's your logic, Raj?
I mean, there they have mentioned iteration planning.
And the thing is, this is just your strategy, Raj.
Oh, yeah. How?
Did it say how? It is saying how are you going to divide 5 इसका iteration? ये एक strategy है तेरा. This is not
Yes.
speaking about it. And strategies will go into the plan, schedule management plan. Now look at it. The first one, why are we rejecting agile practice guide? Agile
That's
That
practice
it
guide
is not a
उन्होंने लिखा है.
strategy.
it did.
वो PMI का decision है, वो तुम नहीं कर.
Yeah.
They are not going to write Raj your strategy there. Correct? Correct?
Yeah.
Project charter, why not in project charter?
Because that's only
Before.
authorizes.
High level
Very
document.
high level. वो बॉस ये लेवल में जाता ही नहीं है. That all he has left it to the Raj. Correct? Schedule network diagram. I mean, this is
Is
ridiculous.
what?
वो डायग्राम में
वो
थोड़े ही ना आते, इसमें नहीं
सर
आता.
वो प्रेडिक्टिव में रहता है ना वो तो schedule net.
Correct. So if you look at correct, yeah, that's another important aspect there. Schedule network diagram is applicable for predictive, and from the description it is very clear he is doing
Agile
agile.
है.
So schedule management plan. Yeah, click. And that's all. So all how strategies are here. Did you notice, Raj? I was always emphasizing how. है ना? To understand difference between these documents, you need to understand strategy and goals are different things there. Yeah, go back. Okay. The pharmaceutical project start doing. ठीक है, C announces. हाँ देखते, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. Yeah, answer 8th question. Let's try to see. In a pharmaceutical project, human trials are to start soon. The CEO is thrilled about the success of the trials up to this point. She announces that the size of the participant pool for the trial should be double from the one originally planned, and results tracked in the new system launching this week. What should the project manager do first? So looks like this lady is enthusiastic. Ramp up the production to match the demand of the CEO. Consider what might be included in the change request. Communicate the changes of direction to the stakeholder and adjust the scope baseline to reflect the increased trial size. Did you got a feel, friends, here? What type of things they are asking? If you are novice, if you are
Scenario
not
based.
understood this thing, you will say कि ये चार का कोई relation ही नहीं है, क्या पूछ रहा है ये related. There is a relation here. What has happened, friends, here?
There's quite a few things, right? From a factors
Double.
perspective, this key stakeholder CEO,
She's a key
then
stakeholder.
external system भी mentioned है,
सर ये
tracking
हो ना.
something in the question. तो
But
वो तीन चीजें
so Maria, but fundamental thing that there is a change. Did you
change.
notice that?
So
There is a
be
change.
it
Did
would
you
be
notice that it's a change? Now the question he is asking indirectly is that if that is the change, what you should do first? Number one, ramp up the production to match demand of CEO. What's wrong with this approach?
no
सर विदाउट
जो
चेंज.
scope creep वाला
Approval कहाँ हुआ?
scenario
Change
आता है.
approve तो होना चाहिए, correct?
हाँ.
And even before approval, Swati, it should be impact analysis.
Yes.
You can't do that without that. So first is gone. Second, consider what might be included in the change request. Not a bad idea, because now he is
Impact.
looking कि मेरे को change request करना है. He's not doing a knee jerk reaction. He is trying to say कि हाँ ठीक है मैडम करना है करेंगे, but let me check that. Third, communicate the change of direction with the stakeholder. This may not be bad, but he's assuming as if this is done. I don't think.
After CR.
सर कोई इमरजेंसी नहीं है तो पहले वो कंसीडर करेंगे कि चेंज रिक्वेस्ट में क्या जाना चाहिए, उसके बाद
करना है कि नहीं. Correct. So
स्टेक
that's
होल्डर्स को
there.
कम्युनिकेट
So
करेंगे.
B and C में anything could be clues. maybe communicate the change of direction with the, नहीं अभी नहीं है change of direction, मेरे ख्याल से C नहीं है, B looks to be the best one. Now
Yeah.
D, adjust the scope baseline.
No, that
वो
would be
बिल्कुल नहीं
But
करेंगे.
that should be after the consideration.
Yeah.
Only
After the
after
CR
they
is
approve.
approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are far away from there. So B looks to be the best case here. Yeah, tick. I take my
B.
statement back, कुलदीप, तेरा राहु इतना भी खराब नहीं है.
कैसे सर?
आ रहा है ग्रीन, आ रहा है सब, और क्या चाहिए. सो
सही
राहु
है
काल
सर.
सही आ रहा है तेरा आज. सो गुड. बट what we are trying to say, see, did you notice it's an interesting thing. And कुलदीप, वो जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ तेरे को, तू एग्जाम बुक कर वाला, बिकॉज वन ऑफ द फन यू विल गेट आउट ऑफ दिस इज दैट वंस यू रीड the moment this happens. We were in that stage in 2008. We were 7 people who actually attended the training together and booked the exam, almost in the similar period, and did the study. तो वो बड़ा मजा आता था when we are discussing it, हाँ यार ये question है, then what do you think and all that. Those discussion starts, it starts giving you, the motivation there. Okay, yes, so that's a different thing. Come back and try to solve. Now this time you go ahead and search a question called as earliest. सर्च कर अभी, बिकॉज अदरवाइज दिस विल बी टू मेनी
सर
क्वेश्चंस. वी
सर इस पेज पर तो नहीं है.
हाँ
तो
नहीं,
अभी
बैक करना, बैक कर,
Let's go.
हाँ ठीक है सर.
डू बैक. देन व्हेन यू विल कम इनटू दैट फर्स्ट थिंग वेयर देयर वाज अ लव पीएमपी, और मे बी ऑन द टॉप है क्या, देख.
चैट जीपीटी को जाएंगे
दैट
क्या? ये है
सर्च वाला
सर.
बॉक्स है, उसमें सर्च
सर
वाला.
ये है ना इधर. अच्छा ऊपर है क्या?
सर्च वाला ऊपर, हाँ वो कीवर्ड करेक्ट, वहां पे टाइप अर्लीस्ट. ट्राई कर, मिलता है क्या कुछ.
नहीं है सर. 0.
अच्छा,
ईएफ
ई
करके देखो क्या?
ईएफ पे बहुत आएगा ना. ईएफ देख, आया तो अच्छा है. ईएफ पे बहुत जगह कुछ भी है. इफेक्ट वाला भी ईएफ करेगा ना वो.
नहीं है सर. ये तो कुछ और ही दिखा रहा है.
नहीं, ईएफ है ना. ईएफ तो इफेक्ट वगैरह कहाँ पे भी करता है वो, उसमें
तो
तो
एलएफ कर देते हैं. लेटेस्ट
एलएफ
फिनिश वो.
देखो. एफ
उसका
में
थोड़ा
नहीं. हाँ,
चांसेस कम रहेगा.
चांसेस कम रहेगा और क्या. तो 40 क्वेश्चन. ओके, थोड़ा भी स्क्रॉल करते हैं, मे बी विल गेट. सर्वेंट लीडर वैसे सॉल्व कर
सर
सकते हैं, बट अभी हम लोग
ये कोस्ट है तो हम स्केड्यूल में डाल के देखेंगे.
हाँ, बट वो स्केड्यूल ऐसा नहीं होता है. वो डालेगा तो ओवरराइट करता है मेरे ख्याल से, व्हेन यू डू दैट. ईएफ वाला देख, स्क्रॉल करके कुछ मिलता है तो. सो ये चैट जीपीटी भी जाना, उसको पूछ लेते ना.
हाँ बराबर है सर.
दैट्स बेटर. ये व्हाई आर वी स्ट्रगलिंग हियर. Thought now. PMP question.
पीएमपी एग्जाम लेवल MCQs without answer keys on topic
फॉरवर्ड
of
पास लिख. फॉरवर्ड पास.
forward
पास.
topic.
पास. फॉरवर्ड पास, नॉट पाथ. हाँ, यस, देख काफी नैरो कर दिया तूने, तो ही विल कम बैक. What is the main purpose of performing a forward pass in project scheduling? To calculate the late start and late finish, to identify the critical path, to calculate early start and early finish, and to allocate resources to activity. फॉरवर्ड पास याद है, वो पहले किया था हमने.
early start and early finish dates.
That's what Pawan is saying. Does everyone agree? Earliest start and earliest finish.
हाँ क्योंकि वो बैकवर्ड पास में होगा वो लेट वाला तो.
Late वाला.
लेटेस्ट.
So Pawan is absolutely right. It is option C here. Pawan,
सर
would you
लेकिन
like to
ठीक है.
note quickly 1C? So that
सर
we'll
मैं
check
कर
that.
देता
हाँ चलेगा. 1C. Okay. Yeah. Now the second one. During the forward pass, what is the early start of the first activity in the project schedule?
1 रहेगा सर. वो तो पहला दिन प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट डेट.
0 of the project start day, early finish of the predecessor, late start of the successor, float activity. कुछ नहीं है, 0
सर
or
फर्स्ट
project
एक्टिविटी है
start.
ना. फर्स्ट एक्टिविटी का तो 0 ही रहेगा या
So
प्रोजेक्ट
2
स्टार्ट
is
डेट.
A. Option 2 is A. Which is the second one? A, C, A, हाँ. 3. Third question. is which of the following statement is true regarding early finish? EF. And he has given multiple formulas for early finish. Early finish is earliest start plus duration minus 1, latest start plus duration, earliest start, latest finish, and all that. So all those calculations. Which one?
+1.
The first one.
ये बार आएगा सर.
Yeah.
पहला ही है ना, earliest start, forward pass वाला है नहीं, earliest finish you calculate in forward pass. In forward pass you do it that way. So -1. And fourth, if an activity has multiple predecessors, the early start of that activity is determined by, look at it, there are multiple predecessors, then early start to need to be calculated. You know what is to be done?
तो लेटेस्ट का होगा ना.
Biggest number लेके +1 करना है. Correct? Biggest number and take +1. So look at it here. It is saying the largest early finish is to be taken.
सर लार्जेस्ट किधर लिखा है इधर? तो नहीं है ना.
नहीं, बी में है ना, बी
B,
ऑप्शन
B,
इज
B.
देयर. बी में है ना.
अच्छा, दी लेटेस्ट स्टार्ट.
नहीं,
Latest.
एक सॉरी सॉरी,
B.
लेटेस्ट है, लार्जेस्ट लगा मुझे. एक
लार्जेस्ट नहीं है सर, वो लेटेस्ट है सर.
अर्लीस्ट स्टार्ट, अर्लीस्ट फिनिश अमॉन्ग्स्ट ऑल द प्रेडिसेसर्स. नहीं, द लेटेस्ट अर्ली फिनिश. हाँ, अर्लीस्ट एंड लेटेस्ट लिखा है उसने, लेटेस्ट नहीं.
तो लेटेस्ट फिनिश में
लेटेस्ट अर्ली फिनिश. हाँ, सब जो है ना फिनिशेस, बेसिकली ही सेइंग ईएफ निकालो सबके. करेक्ट? ऑल द प्रेडिसेसर्स का ईएफ. इफ देयर आर मल्टीपल, टेक द लेटेस्ट वन उसमें से, नॉट अर्लीस्ट. करेक्ट? आउट ऑफ देम
लेटेस्ट जाएगा ना सर, लेटेस्ट वाला ही रहेगा ये. लेटेस्ट और एलएस
नहीं, बट लेटेस्ट वाला
नहीं,
स्टार्ट
लेटेस्ट
नहीं लेना
स्टार्ट नहीं है.
लेटेस्ट फिनिश बी है ना.
अच्छा, लेटेस्ट फिनिश.
हाँ, है ना. सो बी, 4 is B. 4 is B. Note it down. And taking the fifth one, when performing forward pass, if an activity has no predecessor, look at it, when you are doing forward pass, that activity had no predecessor, what assumption is made about its earliest start?
ये वाला सर.
A.
Oh, same question है almost, if you look at it. Did you notice, friends? First activity बोला, यहाँ पे one which doesn't have a predecessor बोला, no predecessor. Basically it is boiled down to same. Yes of the process is start date or 0 exactly. So fifth, मेरे ख्याल से इतना चेक कर लेते हैं आंसर.
Why not C? It
हाँ,
also depends on resource availability.
हाँ, now would that change? See, you have that activity which has no predecessor. So resource availability will go ahead and check the project start date later. When you are doing the critical path method, you are not putting the resource constraint onto that. This whole float and all that thing, Swati, are applicable only when you don't put. After you put resource things, the things will change. So resources comes later. First thing is this dependency or the process, precedence diagramming method. That's why B happens to be, नहीं, B नहीं, A happens to be the answer here. Check करना इतने के आंसर.
Okay sir.
Check कर. Let's see that. अच्छा, ऐसा भी लिख सकते हैं.
हाँ, डायरेक्टली कॉपी पेस्ट भी कर सकते हैं, वो बता देगा ठीक है या नहीं.
कुछ
C
बहुत
A
समझदार
B
है.
A.
वो बुरा नहीं मानते हैं सर.
हाँ, बहुत
C A
समझदार है.
B A.
बिल्कुल ठीक. All good.
सब all good. So that's all. So these are, little, but did you notice, friends, the reason for which I ran you through that whole calculation while telling you, saying that you are not going to do it ever? Did you realize the rationale behind it? Unless I would have done that calculation, आपको ये answer नहीं आने वाली थी. Did you realize it?
Yeah, true.
Just by
Yeah.
memorizing that, you can't remember. You will have to do it once. Then, अब ये अजीब तरीका है PMP का. I mean, they are on one side, they are saying that you need not, I mean, will not ask you the question, but unless you have not done it, you will not be able to answer it either. तो एक आधा प्रैक्टिस के लिए ये टाइप का करके देखो. ES, EF, critical path, network diagram, practice करो, because those practical question you will be able to only answer when you have done it, which you are trying to do in the classroom, but even offline, try to do it yourself once or twice. With now you have a huge bunch of sources where you have it. Love PMP is there, ChatGPT is there, ये सर्च कर रहे, वो हमने देखा था क्या किताब, वो लेहमन ब्रदर में क्या है?
एंड्रू रामदयाल।
ऑलिवर, नहीं ऑलिवर लेहमन, सर्च कर इधर, ऑलिवर लेहमन, पीएमपी। लेहमन ब्रदर वाज दैट,
तब वो गया, वो डूब गया
हाँ,
2008 में गया।
उसमें तो वो ये आया था ना पूरा, ये हाँ करेक्ट, ओपन
2008 में
कर,
गया सर।
हाँ।
बहुत
नहीं
बड़ा
वो बहुत
कंपनी।
लोगों को डूब के गया वो, एक्चुअली इट वाज नॉट ओनली,
हाँ।
इट वाज अ बैड थिंग देयर। तो इसमें ना एक पीडीएफ है, जस्ट स्क्रॉल डाउन, दे सोर्सेस में देखो सर, सोर्स, हाँ, सी देयर आर सो मेनी क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर देयर विद टाइमिंग है यहाँ पे, यू विल, इट विल अलाउ यू टू टेस्ट इट एज वेल। दैट्स वन ऑफ द ब्यूटीफुल थिंग अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर साइट। ऊपर इफ यू टेक द ड्रॉप डाउन एज अ सोर्सेस, मेनू में देख, देयर इज सोर्सेस, हाँ, या डाउनलोड ऐसा कुछ है क्या, फ्री 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 में देख, देयर इज अ पीडीएफ, हाँ, या क्लिक कर दैट, और इज दिस द सेम पेज?
हाँ सर, ये सेम पेज पे आ गया।
नहीं, और एक पीडीएफ डाउनलोडेबल भी है,
एक मिनट नीचे देखता हूँ सर, आया है क्या।
देयर इज अ डाउनलोडेबल
हाँ, समझ गया सर, समझ गया।
पीडीएफ,
ये रहा सर। ये डेटा
हाँ,
शीट।
नहीं वो डेटा शीट है, सो मेनी थिंग्स देयर, मोर फ्री प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस, ओके, अनदर 180, ये 180 वाला, ये देखिए नीचे में, हाँ, एक्सेस एंड डाउनलोड, दिस इज द ओनली वन, क्या हुआ, there is some pdf, which is there, which is free available. In fact, they say that you can distribute it freely as well, and so to that extent they have given it, so try all that thing free. So that's one other. So what I'm trying to tell you, there are dearth of questions which are there, and we should help you to prepare. So utilize that opportunity. Don't announce in your family that next Saturday we don't have a class, as if there is a class. Join at 9 a.m. without this thing, and try to read something, try to solve some questions, so that you can utilize that Saturday, and Sunday we'll again meet back there. So any questions, queries before we close for the day?
I have already announced, so sorry about that.
Oh, you have already announced that it's not there. So Kuldeep, अभी कुछ करना पड़ेगा तेरे को. You'll have to manage this as an, raise a change request. Maybe
ठीक
your
है, ठीक
boss will accept your change
है।
request.
स्पॉन्सर के पास जाना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि उसी
जाना
का
पड़ेगा.
स्पॉन्सर।
Good, good. Anyway, what I'm trying to say, because we have completed, I think today happens to be the seventh day, तो आपका रीडिंग बैकलॉग भी काफी है, so use it, whenever. I'm not saying Saturday you do it, but do it, whenever you get an opportunity. Okay. Chalo. Anyone, any question, or we close for the day?